say that I want to talk about the elephant in the room.
Elephant?
In this case, the dog in the room.
Oh, yes.
We're kind
Our
of just so
Zuko.
used to like having his presence here, but
This is the first time he shows up on our podcast.
This is the first time we bring him. Actually, we brought his daughter in before, which I don't
Zena.
know. Yeah, I don't know. Do we want to put a little insert here? I don't know. If we remember,
whatever.
we're gonna put an insert here.
Here it is. Here. Yeah, boom. But yeah, so this is Zuko. Zuko is my dog, and he is the father to Xena. Yeah. But Xena was the first dog that we introduced to the podcast, and
we brought her as a puppy.
Yeah. She was just like she fit in. She was like this little thing.
I remember I put her bed here, and she was still like kind of like in her napping stage.
Yeah.
So we had to bring her because we had to record.
Well, she was having trouble with potty, like her body breaks and stuff like that,
and everything. So we're like, okay, like I think it's such like we love our pups, you know.
Yeah.
So speaking of.
So
he's adorable.
He's Zuko is a very loving dog, and so now that we introduced him, basically you guys are gonna see our dogs a lot more often.
It's a side thing, Yeah. We just want them here with us. They're like a part of us, For anyone that owns puppies, I didn't grow up with dogs, so I never really understood that. Like I would look at people that love their dogs as in like, I mean, I get it, it's a puppy, it's a dog, but now that I have one, I'm like, oh my gosh, we love him, I totally
and especially with him, man, like Zuko's he's the peaceful pup of the house, while Xena's still like in her baby stage where she's running around everywhere, and Shadow is
our trouble child Shadow.
Yeah, he's our hurricane. But all right, guys. So listen, we used to do intros, we used to do mugshots, we used to do the thankful thing, and God knows that we're thankful every single day. But there are certain ways to go about YouTube, right? Right. And we decided, you know what, we're going to cut this down, and even our intros, like, guys, this is our intro. Yeah. Welcome to 7Sixteen. If this is the first time here, this is it. Yeah, make sure you subscribe. This is it, guys. Just move along. Listen to us, and you might just like it.
Right. Yeah, I know. I think that sometimes we just take really long time doing intros and stuff like that, and it's all like, get to the point. You know?
Because
even though I think talking is really good because that's the whole point of podcasts. But sometimes,
there's just things that drag on. There's just things that drags on. I mean, there are things that people are not so interested in,
right? And
sometimes that might cause us to not fully, reach out to the public, because it's especially nowadays where things are such hyperly stimulated.
The retention rate of people. Yeah. I think, what is it down to, like a second or 2 seconds?
Well, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. It's really low.
Yeah.
It's really low. But, I just, the purpose of this podcast is to basically say we're back. We are back. We're done with vacationing for this year until we go to Puerto Rico in December. But for the most part, we're done with vacationing. We turned 30 this year, and we had a lot of planned. I mean, when we told ourselves that we were going to be 30, we said we were going to go all out. Yeah. And because of that, it kind of put us in this thing where in March, we went to Colorado for my birthday. Right. And then
it was a birthday / one of our friends' wedding.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to go to Colorado. Colorado. and so then we finally went there, but then after that we went to Peru. Yeah, we went to Machu Picchu for the first time, finally. It was, oh my God, I loved everything about it.
Seeing pictures here.
Seeing the alpacas, riding the ATVs through the mountains and stuff. And then encima, like riding the ATVs, right? But you're going through alpaca farms. Yeah. So you see all of them all over the place.
All you see is like mountains. Yeah. And it looks kind of like Switzerland type vibes, because I had never been to that part of Peru. But you just see like really tall mountains and like really green, like green pastures. But also, like, it's kind of cold.
Yeah. Oh, kind of cold. It was cold.
Yeah, and then you see a bunch of alpacas and like village people, so I'm like, wow, and waterfalls.
Yeah,
so
it was it was something like out of this world. To this day, it's one of my favorite trips. We've been to a lot of different places, but I don't know. For me, Machu Picchu was like, Cause I'm an adventurous guy. Like it might not be for her, it might not be the top tier for her, or even for Moses. But I'm a big adventurous guy. So seeing mountains, waterfalls, animals, doing quads, adventurous things that are thrillers. Like I climbed up one of the highest mountains there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was dying at the end. Like I couldn't breathe. There was a whole joke with Moses. Well, with you too, right? Like where I was just climbing up, but then I came back down like like it's just like I couldn't breathe. My lungs felt like it was gonna like explode.
Yeah, which we actually got like a small glimpse of that when we were in Colorado.
Yeah. At Pikes Peak.
Felt like I was gonna pass out.
Yeah.
And that's that when we were looking at the altitude. Our trip to Peru was a month after that, and I'm here like. I'm at this altitude here in Colorado and I am dying.
Yeah.
And we're about to be even higher when we go to Peru. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But I love adventure. I really do. I think a lot of it has to do with my lifestyle where it's just so crazy. I mean, yours is too, but I feel like I just require more downtime. Like when it is like, for me, vacationing just means like, I'm finally going to, like, sit back and relax and, like, kind of do nothing. Forget the emails, forget the traffic, forget this.
Yeah.
So, like, my ideal vacation time is, like, more of a beach, more tropical. I'm also not Puerto Rican where you are. So, for you, that's like, oh, yeah, I'm just, back in my homeland type thing.
Yeah.
For me, I'm here like, oh, my gosh, this is amazing. Like, islands and stuff where that's, like, normal for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's normal for me, but I'm still...
No, I know.
You know what? I don't know. Like, I like the whole island life, but I'm not a beach person.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
I am, and I love it. But I knew that this year, specifically for your birthday in Colorado and everything, we were like, okay, it's adventuring.
See, now, but also I've heard things about, like, okay, off topic a little bit, right? But kind of on topic. Beach house or mountain house with a lake?
I used to only say beach house before, but it was because I just like love the beach and everything. But I think you've really gotten me to fall in love with like a cabin house.
But what about it though? Like
it's the peace that you get with it. It's the quiet, serene sound, like the birds chirping. But you also do get that in a beach. Like for me, the sound of waves.
But I'd rather hear a regular bird chirping instead of a seagull where it's like,
no, come on, get out of here.
Moses, what would you rather have?
Ooh, so I'm kind of like on the fence because I kind of like how Adrian was doing. I love the beach because there's a time and a place, but then there's also a time and a place for the cabin. And I think with Xavier, I learned a lot more. And then as a photographer too. I like landscapes. So with landscapes, it's like a whole different.
So you get more landscape with the
with cabins that with the beaches. Like unless you go to like Greece or you go to Thailand, like you guys you're going to talk about things like that. That's the only time you'll see something different.
Right.
But the cabins or in the woods, it's always going to be different mountain peaks. There's going to be lakes, no lakes, or just all nature. And things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like that you guys are learning to love that stuff.
We've extended our, because I used to be really like closed off on it. Like, no, I don't know. I don't really care for the forest or the mountains and stuff. But I have definitely learned to appreciate that there is beauty in everything God has created.
Yeah,
not just the beach, not just the mountains. Like but
just some more than others.
Yeah. Okay, whatever. Which actually
I'm gonna make a little side note because we went camping recently, right? And
yes, that's right.
So they're gonna get into that a little too. So Xavier asked me a question because Xavier likes to camp, but he likes to camp.
Yeah.
Sometimes for me camping, I was like, I just be in a cabin, an RV, just a hotel with me, right? And he was like, but isn't there just relaxing when it's just the noise? And it's like, there is, but that's not my ideal of relaxing. Relaxing, I guess that's where I really fall on the beach.
Yeah.
Then versus the cabin, because with cabins you have to be like, I have to prepare for wild animals, mosquitoes.
I guess
bonfire. There's a little more work. I'm just like, that's not a vacation. For me at least.
I don't know. I guess it's because I like the whole, like, for example, when we went to the site that we went to, there was a creek next to it and we get to hear the water. So
yes, that was beautiful.
So to take from it,
like,
So to take from it, we all agree that water is necessary because I like a mountain house with a lake.
Well, water is relaxing in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
So water is necessary. It's just the scenery of where the water is kind of like.
No. But also, and you guys let us know what you prefer more because, like, again, there's beauty in both. But I, like, now really looking into it, like with what Mo said, the idea of mosquitoes biting me bothers me so much.
So you take away the mosquitoes.
The idea of, like, the bathroom situation and the showering and then the nighttime and then being careful for the bears and, like, stuff
I don't know. That's too much. You guys are thinking about it too much.
No, but that's what true camping is. Like, I do like camping, but you have also made it very comfortable for me.
Yes.
For me to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because if it was regular, like, real survival type, I would say, like, I'm going to the beach.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, since we're on the topic already, yeah, we recently went to a camp trip. And as she was saying, I did make it comfortable for her. Like, so my truck is built for, like, kind of like a survival situation. I'm really big on preparation. I'm a big prep guy. So I set up my truck where I can charge huge lithium units with solar or with the engine of the car. And so with that, I have a power supply that allows me to connect a shower, or it allows me to connect to, like, if I need to charge my phone or charge, like, or use power tools, whatever the case may be, it's set up. And there's also a tent on the roof. Yeah. So I can open up the tent and we sleep on the roof of a car rather than having a tent set up on the floor where bugs can reach you or a bear can reach you or whatever the case may be.
Right. You're basically ready to live off grid if you really had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I you know what it was? What really piqued that interest was, I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it kind of like led me towards it. The conspiracy of martial law hitting in and people going survival mode. And this was during the pandemic. And from there, I started searching one thing and the search went to another thing. And I was like, yo, I would love to build my truck this way, like kind of like a mobile survival, like, you know, get out there in the woods. It's a 4x4 if I had to, that kind of thing. So it just opened up a can of worms and I went with it. What should we call it? Where I was going with this was we went on this vacation and it was dedicated towards me as my 30th, right? It was very adventurous, stuff like that. So we came back and we even made an episode. We made an episode all about Peru. Yeah. But the problem is that I didn't have an editor. Yeah. So I was editing it myself, but 3 days went by, 4 days went by, 5 days went by. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy afterwards. And at the end, it was like, yo, like, I'm like, I don't know if I could do this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then eventually I ended up doing some research. I ended up talking to one of the pastors in our church. And he was like, well, have you thought about doing black magic? Yeah. The ATM. Right. He was like, you just do a switcher and it lives edits.
That's what it's called, ATM?
Yeah, the ATM Pro. Oh, it's the Black Magic is the brand. ATM Mini Pro is like what the switcher is. So he was like, yeah, you know, like you just hook up all your cameras, you do the switching, and then it records live. Right. So it took me a while before I pulled the trigger. I mean, I didn't have the money.
Right. It's pricey to do this.
Yeah.
Because, it's just everything that we have invested or invest with this, it's coming out of our own pockets, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we have like sponsorships or YouTube's like,
no, to this day, we don't have any of that.
And the whole point of us like starting this was truly to, you know, it's just something that we felt like God was really directing us to. But I'm here like, God, if you're going to direct us, you're also going to provide for us in every way, you know?
Right. And all of this is kind of like new for us.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good. I'm happy to see this new stuff. I'm happy to see the new tech, although it's not technically new. It's just new for us.
I think it's refreshing tech. Like, as a viewer, I don't think they might see it as much, even though I think we have a couple cool new camera angles.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
As far as like everything that goes into like the editing process, I don't think people can really see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so basically, guys, like I have this whole new setup here. It's called Black Magic ATM Mini Pro, right? For whoever is in the tech stuff, they might know what it is. But basically, it's a switcher. And we now have a producer in our chair.
Yeah.
And Moses, if you can show yourself real quick. And so,
what's up, everybody?
so typically, what's gonna happen now is it's actually gonna be EJ, a friend of ours, that's gonna be producing. He's just away on vacation, so Moses is helping us for today.
Moses is always the guy that comes in clutch when we need him.
Yes,
to,
yes, that is true.
Which, by the way, I am gonna leave, a handle here if you guys ever need any kind of like work or anything. But you guys can go ahead and follow him.
Yeah,
Snap.
yeah. But yeah, like going back, it's this device that allows you to like kind of click according to what camera angle you want, and it's recording live while we're doing this. Whereas before, we would just upload it to every SD card, all the memory cards, put it into the computer, all 4 of them, and then edit it according to wherever we wanted. But that was a process that took up like a whole day for an actual editor, or for me, a whole week.
Right. And if you kind of have no idea what we're talking about, basically it made our jobs a lot harder.
Yes.
And it's actually a reason why we haven't really been uploading.
Yeah. So we had an editor. I mean, I know I've mentioned him a lot. His name's Misa, and he does a lot of professional work. I mean, right now he's on tour, but now that he's been blessed recently,
famous now,
man,
he's doing
I was talking to him. I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, when I started with you guys, I had like shy of 1,000. Yeah. Now he's like at 18,000, 19,000. Like yeah, and that was like all this year. Yeah. That was all this year. Yeah. So he went on tour with this girl named Averly, right? Averly. Yeah. And she's a Dominican Christian artist. Yeah. And they're just touring the world right now. I think right now I just saw something on his story. He's in Argentina.
Oh yeah, wasn't he like in Chile?
He was just in Chile. Yeah. So he's basically her content creator. Yeah. And he does everything for her, but we lost him. So
we're like, oh my gosh, congratulations, but
thanks, because now I can't do nothing. No.
We're super happy for him.
Yeah, no, I'm beyond happy for him. Yeah. Because before he started with us, he was telling me all his dreams and all his goals and event spaces where he wanted to be, and that's exactly what he was blessed with.
Yeah, you know, to kind of see how like that really like developed for him. So when we talk about like losing Misa, right? It's like, oh gosh, what do we do? But also, I'm super grateful to have him, because in the beginning, like the very beginning stages of the podcast, had he not have been there, I don't think we would have even started. So
I think it would have shut down quickly.
Even even quicker, right? And I feel like God really used him for that time of the podcast's season, or that time of life for us. So I'm like super grateful. But also like, we needed to find another solution to really make this happen. So I know it's like, we were in the middle of trying to figure out how we're going to make this happen. Also making sure we're saving and putting money aside for it. But then also like all of our trips in the middle and like all of these things to do. Because I think when that happened, we were maybe like a month away from like going on to our next trip. Yeah.
Yeah, but going back, because I'm glad you mentioned that, but going back to the whole God providing a way, I mean, he'll do that. Like if something crashes on you, or if something of a door closes on you, that doesn't necessarily mean that's the end of it, right? For me, I could have easily gone into like a fetal decision, like, oh God, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I can't. Instead, when it happened, where it was like, hey, I can't really edit these videos for you like that anymore because I don't have time. Sure, it brought stress on me, but it's kind of like you just have to realize that God will provide a way. You have to depend on him. You have to just go straight to him. It's like, hey, if you open this door for me, I know that's not the end of it. Right? If you originally gave this to me, this podcast, you gave this vision for me, and you told me to do this, so I'm doing it, and now it's closed. What are you trying to teach me? What's the lesson here? So it's like we have to learn to go back to him and depend on him. And he will provide the way, whether it's through giving you the wisdom to research and find another way, or he's going to put the right people in your path to kind of guide you like, hey, here's an idea. Maybe you could do this, or maybe you could do that. Yeah. Because at first he opened up a position for an editor to come in after Misa.
Right.
But then I hit the guy back up when I was ready to start doing the podcast again. And he says, hey, like I won't be able to. I'm too busy.
Right.
But that same guy also advised me to do the switcher.
Right.
You get me? So
it's like
so God will still provide a way.
Right.
Just because the door closes does not mean it's over.
Yeah.
Pray to him. Go back to him. He's the author of your life, and he will provide a way.
Yeah, amen. And I feel like sometimes it's easy to just like focus on all the negatives, right?
Yeah.
And to just be like, oh my gosh, like this is it. Like I'm just gonna give up. But it's not. It's not about how easy the journey is, because most of the times anything that is worth it, anything that is that's going to get you, whether it's success or even just growth, right? Growth isn't easy.
Yeah.
Like it's going to take sacrifices. It's going to take effort.
Yeah.
So I just
stay there, buddy.
what happened, buddy?
He's getting. He wants to move his position.
I love that. He's such a handsome pup. You're such a handsome pup. But yeah, just I'm trying to like regain my thought process. But no, I think that it's important to just not quit so easily in life.
Yeah. Well,
like
no matter what gets
fight,
thrown at you,
there's still a fight that we can keep on, persevering. Like just peleando.
yeah. No, I totally agree. But like I said, we had all the intentions of coming back and doing another podcast as soon as we were done with Peru. But time went on, and then the next thing you know, like we're moving on to our next vacation. It was her birthday in June. She turned 30 as well, and I promised her a Thailand Bali trip.
Yeah.
And we did that with a group of friends, and man, we had a blast.
It was so much fun. I mean, that flight was no joke.
Oh no, that was bad.
21 hours, and I was just all like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I actually started like it was. What was it? The second. So going, because we went from EWR to South Korea. Was it?
To South Korea, yeah.
Yeah, and that wasn't too bad. But it was from South Korea to Thailand where it was like I started freaking out. My body started freaking out because I don't know what it is. Like I couldn't go to sleep.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, I'm here thinking, okay, you know what? I can't go to sleep. Let me take a sleeping pill. That kills me, man. That killed me. It wrecked me completely. My body started like what's the word? Like your muscles start tightening.
Like spasming? Like
I don't know what it was. I was just like contracting, I guess you could say. Like I was just like this, like, and I'm like freaking out. My hands are like tingling. I don't know what it was. I think it was an effect of those pills and me not being able to sleep in a plane uncomfortably.
Yeah. But I mean,
meanwhile, you can sleep and knock out.
I can sleep anywhere at any time. I can sleep right here, right now.
Yeah, I can't sleep the way she can.
Yeah, no, but Bali was just a beautiful experience overall. It was Bali and Thailand, and we did 1 week in each, and I feel like that was like probably our last like vacation that we thought we were gonna have. But it was just one of those like big things, like big trips that we wanted to take because we haven't been anywhere that far ever.
No.
That was the first time in Asia. Yeah, 21 hours.
Wait, but Tahiti is not Asian? No, that's French Polynesian.
The French Polynesian.
Yes. So it is the first time we were in Asia.
Yeah, it was our first time in Asia. And, like in our minds, we've also always been like, hey, like we've always pushed the idea of like having kids.
Yeah.
To like as much. And it's just always been like, oh, I don't know, maybe when I'm 28, maybe when I'm 29.
Yeah.
And then I was all like, well, when we were 29, we were definitely with that mentality of like, definitely when we're 30. Now we're 30 and we're just like,
maybe when we're 31.
Maybe 31, 32. Like, we'll see. But mentally, we were just already preparing for like, hey, we just want to like be able to really take as many trips as we can and like fully enjoy it. Because we don't know, like, every single, like, one of God's plans for us, Like, we can plan as much as we want, but sometimes, like, things happen, and we're just all like, let's just really try to enjoy our time now, what we know we can. Let's prepare for it. Yeah. And then let's see what happens. You want to talk too, buddy? You want to talk?
But the way I felt was, like, and if this helps for anybody, maybe this is an advice for you if you don't have a child yet. But for me, it was like, I wanted to make sure that I was selfish a little bit before bringing a child into this world and then feeling regret, right? So for me right now, I'm at a point where it's like, I'm not trying to. Why are you shoving him?
Oh, because he's
he's all up in his face, all up in her face.
Yeah,
but what you would call it? So I'm not in a point where I feel like if I have a child, it's a mistake. Yeah. You know, I'm at a point where if a child were to come randomly, I mean, well, it's God's will, and it's not a mistake at this point. Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's the first and then the second. At this point, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, I don't think, like, you know, if we're talking like within marriage and like everything, we're doing everything the way it's supposed to. Like, you know, kids are always a blessing, no matter what. But I do understand what you mean. Like, as far as like, it wasn't a whoopsie on your part. Like, you really like have thought.
Yeah, I just didn't want to feel, you know, like I mean, if somebody had a whoopsie, I mean, it's all God, right? Like, it's God's will. Right. That's what it is. But I'm a planner, and so I'm talking based on my personality. Right. You know, I'm not talking based on what's God's will in your life. Because if God's will in my life was to have a baby 3 years ago, well, I mean, that's what it is. You know, but I'm a planner, so I just said like I want it to be 30, and I just want to live a selfish life right now without having kids. That's what it was.
Which I think, you know, like, everyone has their timeline. I think being married now for 7 years, I feel like every year we've always heard, like, so when the kid's coming, when the kid's coming, when the kid's coming. And I feel like,
can we normalize not asking that question? Yeah, please.
I feel like, you know, everyone goes through different journeys. Some women aren't able to have kids. I feel like it's definitely a little inappropriate in my opinion, but, you know.
Yeah, like that, we would get that question a lot, and I get it. You know, we would mainly get it from our moms, right? Especially your mom. Yeah, you know, she loved to ask that question, but it's just they're excited to be a grandmother. Yeah. Whereas my mom, you know, she's excited to be a grandmother still, but there are other nieces and nephews, so it takes the pressure off a little bit off of me. Yeah. You know, whereas for your mom, it's you and Moses, and that's. So I don't blame her, but at the same time, it's like, yo, like let me live a little.
Right, just a little bit. A little bit. But yeah, so this year has just definitely been the selfish year. Yeah, I would say, and selfish in a good way, I would say.
This year, you're saying just this year?
This year specifically with like all the traveling and stuff.
Oh,
like,
I see.
I feel like has been a very like, let's just, because even with like work, I think from like being so burnt out with everything, I was just like, I feel like this is almost my year off. Not that I haven't been working, because
you definitely worked a lot this year.
But I just feel like I took so many weekends off, and even just weekends just because. Yeah. You know, and I'm here like because I feel like life has to be that good balance of like, you know, yeah, it's good to work and hustle. We're young and all of this, but also like, you know, what about me? What about the way I'm feeling? What about our relationship? What about our relationship with God? Like, what does that all look like? And sometimes I think we live in a culture where it's so accepted, and the idea of like being very super busy,
just stress,
is like applauded.
Yes, living a life, like, for example, it's like, oh man, I have so much respect for you because you have 3-4 jobs,
right? And you barely have any, you don't have any time for, good for you. And it's all like, no, like, can we normalize like having some time off is a good thing for you?
You know, and I get it. People have to hustle. Some people want to hustle. I mean, if you like having 3 to 4 jobs, it's fine. I'm not judging you for having that. It's fine. But I'm the type of person that wants to take a lot of vacations. You know, I kind of like,
most people do, but I get it.
Well, like, no, I sacrificed, like, for example, I don't have a car that I'm paying for. Instead, I have an older car with high mileage, and I'm okay with that. Right. You know, like I sacrifice that stuff, and I also sacrifice putting off buying a house right away to put money towards memories. Right. You know, and that's just the way I chose to live my life. Right. You know, so yeah, you know, for us, where it's just like, people might look at it like, oh, well, you guys have a lot of vacations, so you must be rich. Like, no, it's just I kind of prioritize my money for that.
Ways. Yeah, I just, like, I mean, it's true. Like, so yeah, maybe had I worked all those weekends that we took off, like, I would have had more money towards whatever. But what did I get as a result of like taking those time off? I got amazing memories, like memories that I will never forget in my life. Type memories. You know?
And I'm so glad we did it with friends too.
Yeah.
You know, friends from our church, close friends from our church.
Yeah. We did it with family.
We did it with family as well. And it's beautiful to share those memories. It's beautiful to create those memories. You know, and these are the type of things that you get to tell your kids. Yeah. You know, these are the type of things that you get to tell anyone in general. Like, it's a story to tell.
Yeah. No, and it's truly one of those things that I told them. I'm like, you know, one day we're gonna look back and it's all like, remember when we turned 30? It's all like, oh yeah, we like really went all out and like traveled everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't regret it at all. I think that, again, just going back to like having that personal time for yourself, it is not time for yourself invested within yourself, whether it's for work, for just, you know, the hustle of it all, or even just the relaxation for mental like stability. Like, that is not time in vain. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. I mean, and this goes for everything.
Right.
You know, just don't, you know, you can't overwork yourself. You can't take on too many hobbies. You can't take on too many of anything. You have to just be balanced with everything. And that's a good way. I mean, if you don't do it, it's a good way to get burned out. You know, we had a lot going on and we kind of got burnt out, and that's kind of why we put we burnt out last year a little bit too. But this year, you know, with a lot that was going on, I mean, you even opened up your business. Yeah. A second portion of your business.
A second portion. So I remember saying, I think at the beginning of this year, that I had a lot that I was working on this year.
Yeah.
But I kind of held it off till like basically now, where I'm opening like a second business up.
Yeah.
And I'm just all
Which is it's related to her first business. It's just an extension of it.
Right. It's like a 2.0, if you will. And it's something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. And the reason why I'm not saying it is because I haven't even announced anything yet. But it's just, it's just a time for everything, you know. And I know that we spoke in one of our podcasts before how there is a time for everything. Yeah. You know, there is a time for resting. There's a time for working. There's a time for crying. There's a time for everything.
And that's biblical.
Yeah, which actually I did screenshot it before, because I'm like, you know, I have a feeling that we're going to be talking about different times of life. But yeah, so you can find this in...
Isn't it Ephesians?
It is Ephesians 3, where it says there is Ephesians 3, 1 and on. So there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot. And it just keeps on going on with, like, you know, the opposites of everything, right? Yeah. A time to be joyful, a time to be sad. And
it goes to show, you know, it's God understands that there are seasons in our lives.
Yeah.
And whatever that might look like, as long as you have God in front of you, just know that you're in the right place.
Yeah, you know, the actually this morning when I was taking a shower, I feel like I think a lot in the shower. But
I'm pretty sure everybody does. I definitely do. A lot of ideas come from that and sleeping.
Right. For me, I was taking a shower today, and I was just thinking of, like, you know, us doing this podcast and like, I know he's so exhausted.
Go ahead.
Such a long day.
Let's look around.
But yeah, so I was just thinking, like, how like us doing this podcast today and like what exactly we're going to talk about. And this is like super spontaneous, by the way. There's like nothing written down. There's nothing. It's just whatever comes out. And so one of the things that I was thinking about, though, is that how sometimes, like, in these times of our busy season, sometimes, like, we have we get that guilt, right? That guilt of, like, man, I haven't taken out the time that I normally take out for God. And, like, God must be so angry and so upset at me. And I think that comes because that happens because a lot of times we tend to compare God's love with the way people love us, right? Like, if you show me more time, more affection, like, it's like I'm going to feel more loved. I'm going to this. But God isn't like that, you know? His approval of us doesn't come from our works. You know, like, God's love for us is just something super unconditional. And regardless of the season that we're in, like, he is still waiting for us with open arms.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that sometimes it's important to remember that, you know, that God has grace over us. And sometimes we need to have a little bit of grace on ourselves too, because life is just a mixture of so many different things that we're just trying to balance it all out.
Yeah.
And we have a sovereign God that really understands all of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, he gives us rest when we need it.
Yeah.
And he also calls us when he needs us.
Yeah.
You know, and there's you feel it. You feel it in your Holy Spirit. Yeah. You feel it in your spirit when you need to cry out to him. And sometimes, I mean, there are some bad things that can happen, and that's him calling on us too. Yeah. You know, but there's, like, going back to what you were saying, there's a time for everything. Yeah. And those times for everything is all according to how he wants us.
Right.
You know? So, guys, we are back. We're gonna try to upload every week.
Yes.
We have already a list of different podcasts that we wanna upload. There's gonna be times where it's just gonna be me and other guests, or just her and other guests. Yeah. Especially when it's more gender appropriate. Right, you know, when it's specific to females or specific to males. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, we got all this new equipment. Yeah. We have the producer section now. We even have a camera for him. So you know, and we made it so streamlined so that way we can just pop it into the computer, maybe do a few color edits and just upload it. Yeah, because time is important. You know, when you have a lot going on and something is just holding time from you, that's where it can die out. That's where it really drags down. I mean, I'm even using AI now, not to edit the podcast, obviously, but to recycle videos. There's AIs that allow you to upload, and basically they'll do the captions, they'll do the screen switching, they'll do everything. Yeah. You get to upload reels 30 seconds, 60 seconds long.
Yeah, AI is crazy.
So it's like, really convenient.
But, you know, I feel like just technology is moving along, and so do we, and just... in this case, it is a great thing to have technology in this day and age. Yeah. But yeah, we're just super excited for like the next couple of episodes. We actually already have our next one ready as well. Yeah. And that one's going to be so good. You guys can't
I think some of you may have seen kind of what we're doing or what we're gonna have, because he did a story and we did a repost of his story. Yeah. But you know, we had a special guest and we can't wait to upload that one. We just needed to do this one first. We needed to let you guys know where we were.
We needed to let you guys, you know, catch us up, because we can't just be gone for like 8 months and be like, so anyways.
Like as if nothing ever happened.
Yeah. So this is just like our quick catch up, and just guys, continue praying for us. Continue praying for us for peace of mind, for time, for sanity, for wisdom, for
creativity, for everything.
For everything, you know, because everything that we do here, everything that comes into this room is truly to please God and to work in his kingdom in different ways, but it's still in his kingdom. You know, it's not your typical conventional way of like within a church building or within this. And while that is like obviously like such a needed portion, you know, now we have, you know, I just feel like it's important. We feel like it's important to have Christians also within the workspace of the internet. Yeah. You know, and it's like,
for me specifically, what I'm saying, what I've used, the words that I've used is the entertainment aspect of the internet.
Right. Yeah. Because there's a lot in the internet, and I feel like the enemy has been really strategic. Yeah. With like where he wants to really take up the spaces. Yeah. And we need to take some of this.
Yeah, there's just not enough of us. There's not enough of us doing it. I mean, I'm the type of person that eats food with the TV on. Right. You know, like I like doing it. It's a comfort thing when I'm alone. Yeah. Right. And what am I throwing on? Probably a secular TV show. Right. You know, so I'm trying to.
Which, by the way, we're not saying that like don't ever watch any.
No. That's not what I'm saying. You know? What I'm saying is like, the only reason why I'm watching something, or I catch myself watching more secular TV than, I don't know, let's say a Christian YouTube video or whatever it may be, it's because there's no entertainment for us. Yeah. There's preachings and it's good. Believe me, I mean, it's necessary. You can learn a lot off of even just YouTube. You can learn a lot. But what I mean is like, I like podcasts with casual conversations, and the podcasts with casual conversations, none of them are Christian. They're all podcasts that are Bible study. And while we'll still have that here, I'm also looking to create
It's like
casual conversation.
It's like fellowship.
Yeah. I would love to just have the guys here and we're talking about like, I don't know, silly stories that we had growing up as a Christian.
Right.
You know?
Like when we fellowship with our brothers and sisters, we're not just all like, okay, open up this part of my, like we're having real life.
Yeah. And we're having fun with it.
But we're equally yoked.
But the world sees us as, no, Christians are boring. Like they just like sit around and just talk weird and stuff like that. That's how they see us.
Right. So, So going back to
going back.
Pray for us, guys.
Pray for us.
You know, for this podcast, and you know, we truly believe that God has called us to do this in this time, and we're just here, like, all right, God, I'm your vessel. Do what you got to do.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. Just He's gonna open the doors for us, and we're highly depending on Him. But again, you know, keep us in prayer. I mean, if you have any advice or if you have any tips or whatever the case may be, throw it in the comments. Shoot me a text if you know me. Whatever the case may be, you know, let us know, especially in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe if you like this, and we can't wait for more.
Guys, we'll see you on our next episode.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.